Hey there, welcome back to another video. This is yet another vlog. I got some gifts that were sent to me by my good friend Johnathan, and I also picked up a few things on my own, and there were some newer trailers that dropped that I wanted to share some thoughts on, and I'll also get around to answering some of the questions and doing a little bit of an overview of the letter that Johnathan included in the most recent package. So let's get started. I'm going to start with the titles that I got for myself. I got these all from either Amazon or Hamilton Book. So Hamilton Book had a new drop recently, and they had a bunch of Kino Lorber stuff. They didn't have a ton of Kino Lorber Blu-rays. They only had a one in particular that I decided to grab, and then the rest were DVDs. So we have the one Blu-ray, which is The Naked Face with Roger Moore. I believe it's a Canon film. And then we have a DVD of Really Weird Tales. Now this is a anthology series. It's a parody of sci-fi horror anthologies featuring John Candy, Martin Short, Catherine O'Hara, and Joe Flaherty that lasted for like 3 episodes in the late 80s. So, Really Weird Tales. Then we have Assassination for the Charles Bronson collection. And after that is The Great Train Robbery with Sean Connery, Donald Sutherland, and Leslie Ann Down. This ports over the audio commentary with the director, Michael Crichton. Now, the reason why I got these DVDs and not Blu-rays is because these two titles, if I remember correctly, are out of print, and the Blu-rays are crazy expensive. And there is no Blu-ray of Really Weird Tales because the source material is not really the best in terms of the transfer. Uh, so, yeah. But it's still something that I was really curious about seeing because I love John Candy. I love Martin Short. I'm a big fan of Catherine O'Hara. And it's a anthology parody series. And I love anthology shows. And the rest of the stuff here are titles I got from Amazon. So we have Dragged Across Concrete. This is a request, a paid request, along with Cell Block. Yeah, it's Brawl and Cell Block 99. Uh, and we have Star Trek Insurrection, which I got for the Star Trek movie Blu-ray collection. This is the last one that I didn't have. And then we have The Adventures of Tintin. I grew up reading and watching Tintin. By reading and watching, I mean I grew up reading the Tintin comics. I used to check them out from my local library a lot when I was a kid. And I grew up watching the animated show whenever it was on. So I, for some reason though, didn't get around to watching this until fairly recently, and it was a blast. It was really a lot of fun. You could tell that Steven Spielberg had a lot of passion for this character of Tintin and his world, and there's a lot of fun bits of action, and the chase scenes in particular were just epic and amazing to watch. And it was really fun to see Steven Spielberg work in this wheelhouse of CGI animation. It enabled him to move the camera fluidly in ways that you just cannot do with traditional live action photography. So, I was really surprised by this. I would say this is honestly pretty underrated, and I would highly recommend this if you're a fan of adventure movies because this definitely does have a lot of really wonderful highlights when it comes to that kind of film. It was fairly fast paced for the most part, had a lot of exciting, enjoyable, and inventive action, some good voiceover work. And yeah, I would say this is a gem and honestly Spielberg's last great film, The Adventures of Tintin. So that's it for the titles that I got for myself. Now we get to the gifts from Johnathan. So some of these I knew about ahead of time. Other ones were honestly a surprise. So here we have Die Hard in 4K. Die Hard 1 through 5 are on the list for requests, and I actually was thinking about the 4K. I was like, I'm gonna be watching these pretty soon, and I was like, it would be nice to have the 4K, and then Johnathan delivered. So here we have Die Hard, the 30th anniversary 4K Blu-ray. Then we have another anniversary release. This is Psycho. Now, I don't know if this was intentional. Maybe this is how it's packaged, but this has a slash on it, and there's also a slash on the inside of the slipcover. My guess is that's probably, I mean, I don't think that's probably supposed to be there, but you know what? If it's not supposed to be there, I like it. The aesthetic really works with Psycho. It really does. It's an aesthetic that works so well with this film. So I honestly don't mind it. So there's the Psycho 4K release. Then we have Batman, 1989, one of my all-time favorite films. And I initially was leery of this release because I read some reviews online that were less than enthusiastic and talked about color timing and all this other shit, and essentially said that it was not really worth upgrading. And then I popped this into my 4K player, and it absolutely blew me away. So I'm really glad that Johnathan decided to send this to me as a gift, because otherwise I would have never have even bothered, because I have the Diamond Lux edition and that looked really good, and I heard this wasn't really that much of an upgrade, or they mess with the color timing too much. And then I popped it in, and I was like, what are they talking about? This film looks absolutely stunning now in 4K. It was already a stunning transfer and already a stunning looking film to begin with, but now Anton Furst's Oscar-winning uh, production design just completely jumps off the screen in ways that I've never seen before, and so does the lighting and everything. It's just I am highly anticipating rewatching this in 4K because it blew me away. Another film that looks really good remastered is Superman the movie, which is another gift that Johnathan sent me. I knew he was going to send me this one. He told me about it at one point, and I would love to see Superman 2. I would love to see a Superman 2 4K release because I'm a big fan of Superman the movie, as well as Superman 2. And then he also sent me Rabid, the Scream Factory release. This had been on my wish list for years, so I'm really psyched and really looking forward to checking that out sometime. And then we have the Red Turtle. It's a library copy, fine with me. I saw this for it was like a film class. It was a foreign film class I took online, and I really liked it. I thought it was a gorgeous film. So glad to have it on Blu-ray. And then we have this. It's Reign of the Supermen. This is the sequel to Death of Superman. I think I already have this, Johnathan. I think you sent me this before. I'm not 100% sure. I'd have to uh, organize or take another look through my collection. But this does ring a bell to me. But I will take another look to make sure. And then he also sent me this, Volume 2 of Mystery Science Theater 3000. Includes Cave Dwellers, Pod People, and Angel's Revenge. And that's not the last gift he sent me, though, because he also sent me this, Volume 1 of Batman Adventures. This is a comic book adaptation of Batman the Animated Series. And this particular trade paperback is one that I really have been wanting to have because I remember checking this out from the library when I was a kid as well. So this is very nostalgic for me, and it's really nice to have this in my collection. There are multiple volumes of this series that I would also like to get one of these days. It's like the perfect companion piece of this show. It's more episodes. That's really what it is. It's more episodes of this awesome series, but in comic book form. So that's it for the gifts. I will get to the letter pretty soon, but one other thing I want to mention before I get to talking about some of these trailers is I got a new HDMI cable from Amazon. I got it because there were some good reviews. It says it can display 8K. I don't have anything that can really display 8K. So I got it though because it was cheap. It only cost me like 20 something bucks. And I mainly decided to pick it up because of the fact that it had the ability to showcase a more stable 4K signal in terms of the capabilities. And what I mean by that is 4K, at least HDMI 2.1 and other 4K cables, they are supposed to showcase a stable 4K signal of up to 120 frames per second. And I don't think I had one that was really giving me the most out of my setup. So I got this, and as soon as I put it in, as soon as I set it up, it was an immediate improvement. I mean, I was honestly blown away and really astonished. I mean, some regular DVDs, like the DVD of Crank, for instance, it upscaled and looked so good that it was near Blu-ray quality. DVDs that look like straight up garbage and were barely watchable, like Fear, the older Universal DVD, looked way better with this cable. And there are some transfers that still don't look really that great because that's just how it is. Because at the end of the day, it really comes down to the transfer when it comes to delivering the best possible quality. But this cable definitely did make a difference. And I know you'll probably hear people say the cable itself didn't make a difference. The TV made the difference, and that could very well be because I do have a new 4K TV, a newer model, but I had tested the same disc out, the same DVDs out with my previous setup with the new TV. So that's not really the case here. People are trying to say that, oh, well, it might be some other factor. Like, for instance, I do use a pass-through, which is my audio video receiver by Sony. So I do use that, but with the previous cable setup that I had before, I didn't get the same results with something like the DVD of Fear. So it's not just the fact that I'm using a receiver and I have a newer model TV. This new HDMI cable did make a difference. So I definitely do not agree with the idea that all HDMI cables are the same, especially when it comes to do 4K cables. I mean, if you're comparing 1080p to 4K, I mean, it's night and day. Like you should be using a 4K cable if you have a 4K setup, if you aren't already. And I would recommend looking into trying one of these cables that has Ethernet and has the ability to stream 120 frames per second. It doesn't matter if it has gold plating. That's not really the important factor. The important factor with HDMI is that you have the highest capability to provide the most range in terms of color, in terms of all of these different elements that really do make a difference when it comes to the picture quality. I've dealt with a lot of snobs online who try to tell me differently, try to say that it's not, it's just a bunch of ones and zeros and blah 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 blah. And to some extent, that's true, but there is a significant difference when it comes to going from one 4K cable that does not have the capability to really showcase 120 frames per second with a stable stream versus one that can. I mean, there's a difference, and I have noticed it firsthand. And I thought it was $20 well spent. I've been really happy with this cable so far, and even stuff that I'm streaming through this through the player or with my TV through the receiver is also looking really good. So Blu-rays are looking really nice, and 4K discs that already had really good transfers look even better. I've been really surprised. Mainly, a lot of it has to do with the color. Like the color is popping so much more with this cable, and so are the details, like the finer details. So I've just been really happy with it. Um, so that's my thoughts on the HDMI cable, and some people probably like that's boring. Can we talk about the trailers? I'm getting to the trailers right now. So the first film I want to talk about is Reminiscence. It's a new Hugh Jackman film, and looks like it might be a visually interesting film from a pure visual perspective. I like the way it's shot. I like the fact that the trailer doesn't really give away a lot. It seems like it might be a genuinely intriguing, mind-bending kind of thriller, and I like Hugh Jackman, and this seems like a very different kind of film for him. So, yeah, I'm definitely curious about Reminiscence. I thought it looked like a pretty promising film. Demonic, it's the next film by Neil Blomkamp. There were some creepy visuals here, some moments where it looks like he's definitely using practical effects, which I would not be surprised by since he seems to be one of the few last proponents of that. I mean, his web series, Oat Studios, Volume 1, a ton of that was done practically. So I'm not surprised that Demonic is having a lot of practical stuff mixed with CGI. The idea of combining technology and demon possession and stuff like that is nothing necessarily new, but from a visual standpoint, it looks like it might be worth a watch. I don't know how it's going to be though from a story standpoint. And the title is as generic as you can get. There was already another movie called Demonic that came out like 2 or 3 years ago, if I remember correctly. So, that's not the best sign either, that it has like an incredibly generic uh, title. America the Motion Picture, it's an animated movie. Channing Tatum, I think, is behind it, and there's a bunch of different voice actors. There's one character in this that looks like RoboCop on steroids, which I thought was kind of funny. Um, and that being said, it didn't really do that much for me. It didn't really look like it would be that funny. The animation wasn't really that great or amazing to me. It looked like something that I would see on Cartoon Network. It looked like an Adult Swim movie, and that can have its potential, but I don't know. It just didn't really make me laugh that much. So I think that's the main thing. It's an animated comedy, and it didn't really make me laugh. Um, Then we have The Eyes of Tammy Faye, which is a biopic featuring Jessica Chastain, Andrew Garfield, and it's based on the story of Tammy Faye Baker uh, and the real life fraud of the Bakers, the televangelists. And I've seen there was a documentary that came out I think a year or two ago that was actually really good. It was a I think it was a was it a People magazine thing? Or was it a 2020? It was a 2020 special, I think that's what it was. It was really good. I forgot exactly what it was called, but it was about Jim and Tammy Faye Baker, the scandal, and it was a really great documentary. Um, and I've always found that whole story fascinating. So a biopic based on the Bakers and the whole televangelism scandal, I am all in. I'm all for that. And Jessica Chastain is a complete and total chameleon here. I did not recognize her at all as Tammy Faye, and it honestly looks like Andrew Garfield is also going to be delivering a really solid performance himself as Tammy's husband. So it's one of those movies that, yes, I know how all of it's going to unfold, but I want to see how the filmmakers and how the actors uh, add their own touches to this really infamous tale. And then there was a new trailer for Space Jam: A New Legacy that dropped. This looked atrocious. This looked even worse than the last trailer. I hate the overly CGI digitized look of the film. I really despise the basketball scenes. They have no real energy or life to them. They look flat as a flattened, deflated basketball. The humor is lame even for Looney Tunes standards. LeBron James has no actual legitimate charisma or personality, which is interesting because I saw him in a movie called Trainwreck, and I actually thought he was better in that than he is here. Like, what the fuck happened? Um, and it just looks like a completely unnecessary cash grab sequel that's soulless, lifeless, and it looks like it's going to be a waste of basketball and a waste of the Looney Tunes, and I am not looking forward to that at all. It looks like that's going to make the first film look like a masterpiece in comparison. And I like Space Jam. And it's not an ironic thing either. I legitimately like Space Jam for what it is. Over the years, I've fallen a little out of love with it. I don't love it like I did when I was a kid, but I still have fun with it and I could still enjoy the movie. It seems like Space Jam, the first film at least, captured the zany energy of the Looney Tunes to a T. This sequel, it looks like it's not capturing that energy well at all, and that is really concerning. So that's my thoughts on Space Jam: A New Legacy, the most recent trailer, and a couple other trailers I want to mention. Gunpowder Milkshake, I think that's what it's called. That one looked like it might be a fun action movie. At least one of those films where you put it on just to enjoy the over the top action choreography and turn your brain off. It looks like it might be a little too political at times, and I'm hoping it doesn't go that route. I hope it doesn't become some bit of feminist propaganda. But from the trailer, it looked like there was at least some aspects of it that looked like it was going to be worth a watch. And the other thing I want to mention is The Last Mercenary. I think that's what it's called, The Last Mercenary. It's a film that Jean-Claude Van Damme is in. It's going to be a new JCVD movie. It's going to come out on Netflix. And it's nice and it's fun to see Jean-Claude smiling and dancing and having fun again. But the trailer did nothing for me. I thought it looked incredibly generic and forgettable. The action looked lame, especially the way that it was shot and edited. Just a lot of like weird camera angles. I wasn't really into it, and it looked like it was it's gonna be one of those movies where, oh, you would think that it's gonna be a Van Damme movie, but really what it is it's a film about his son, or it's a film about these other members of a group, and I'm not a fan of that kind of stuff. If I want to see a Van Damme movie, I want to see a Van Damme movie. not a movie where Van Damme is a part of an ensemble, and a lot of the other cast members just did not do it for me. There's this guy supposed to be comic relief who's not funny in the slightest, riding around in his underwear on a scooter. There's a weird emphasis on wigs and disguises, and I don't understand that at all. Like, what is Van Damme trying to do here? Is he trying to be the star in a remake of The Saint? Like, what the fuck is all this shit? Van Damme and wigs. Uh, Van Damme is in so many wigs in this trailer, you might as well call it The Last Hairdresser. It's that bad. Um, but yeah, I don't. I mean, I might give it a watch someday down the road just for Van Damme, but it doesn't really look like it's going to be that special or that great. At least not to me, anyway. I know there are people who like the trailer a lot more than me. Um, one of my close friends, Matt, is one of them, but it just didn't really do it for me. So that's my thoughts on Van Damme's latest film. I might have gotten the name wrong. If I did, I apologize. And now we get to the letter. Now, I'm going to do what I've done before with these letters because there's a lot of writing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to answer the questions the best I can and do a little bit of a summary. Um, is Red Turtle my favorite movie of 2016 since I saw it in the film studies class? No, probably not. I wouldn't say it's my favorite film of that year. Um, talks about can't wait for reviews of your Sam Furstenberg movies. Um, he mentions Oxygen. Oh yeah, it's that other movie with Alexander Aja that's gonna come out. I think in like maybe a couple months from now or something. Um, says his birthday is on June 16th. Well, happy early birthday, Johnathan, and I hope you have a fantastic and wonderful birthday. Um, was talking about all these other like reviews that I could do. I'll keep that in mind. Um, I definitely do feel that Angst is a disturbing horror movie done right, 100%. I wouldn't say it's one of my top films of '83 because it's a good movie for what it is, but I wouldn't make it a part of my top list because it's not a film that I really would watch that much. Um, Yeah, I didn't mention Top Dollar and his half sister and the incestuous relationship because I don't know, this didn't really stand out as much to me. I guess it's because or it's just something that didn't really come to my mind. I guess it's not one of those things that didn't stand out. It just didn't come to my mind. Um, talks about Letterboxd. Uh, talks about Critters 2 again. Talks about Scary Movie 1 and 2. Talks about some more movie reviews. Do I think Scary Movie 5 is so bad that it feels like that scene in Surfing the Rainbow with the nail in the scrotum? Yeah, I do. Absolutely. That is definitely Surfing the Rainbow, nail in the um, nutsack, kind of painful. And yeah, it is on the kind of list of really atrocious films that I'd really have no desire to ever watch ever again. Yeah, Underground Mortem definitely is worse than Spy Kids 3D. I'd watch Spy Kids 3D 3 times over watching Mortem again. Is Attack Force my second worst movie of 2006 after Creepshow 3? Uh, maybe? That was pretty damn bad. Wonder Woman 1984, my second worst film of 2020. I'd have to look at the list of 2020 films again. It would be pretty high up there. Would Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 dethrone Street Fighter? Street Lighter. That's a completely different thing. And that's the lighter that's left on the street. Um, so yeah, Street Fighter, Legend of Chun-Li for number one worst movie 2009. No, I would say that H2 is better than Comely. I'd rather H2 is bad, but at least there was some good gore. Like Street Fighter Legend of Comely has nothing going for it at all. And yeah, Bill and Ted 3 would be the number one worst film of 2020. Talks about Shadow in the Cloud. Is that one of my worst movies of 2020? Yeah. Possessor would be on my best list of 2020 for sure. Talks about some other bits about Friday the 13th films. Mentions Feed. Talks about Charles Grodin and may he rest in peace. Yeah, Clarence Williams III. He passed away. The host of Tales from the Hood, among other things. So may he rest in peace. Yeah, I would say Dawn of the Dead 2004 is not as good as Night of the Living Dead 1990 or the other remakes like The Blob, Hills of Eyes, Last House on the Left, House of Wax, um, Invasion of the Body Snatchers, The Fly. But it's still pretty good. Still pretty good film. Yeah, I did see the emails. I haven't really had a lot of time to reply to them, but I did see them, and I definitely do have a lot of the requests from those emails in my head for later. Did I ever think of Powdered Toast Man when Commander Farrell spoke? I completely forgot that he even voiced the same character, so now I'm probably gonna have a hard time not thinking of Powdered Toast Man whenever he speaks. Um, the giant bacteria, yeah, that does remind me a little bit of the Blob, but really I would say the giant bacteria reminds me more of like. Honestly, it reminds me more of that. You remember that Scrubbin' Bubbles thing? You know, the Scrubbin' Bubbles thing that was like made out of like pink bubbles and shit? That's really what it reminds me of is that the Scrubbin' Bubbles monster. Um Talks about some other films, some other potential movies for reviewing in the future. Then he has a little bit about um SJW cancel culture, how it's bullshit. Yep, I agree with a lot of this stuff here. Everything you said here is really quite poignant, and I hope it actually does happen. Um, then he talks about sending me Two Evil Eyes, a few other things in September, and yeah, I did see the Sweet Tooth trailer. That's one thing I guess for some reason I haven't really gotten around to talking about yet. Might as well talk about it here. Uh, Look like a film that has potential when it comes to the visuals, when it comes to the cinematography. Uh, it's definitely different. I'll give it that. I just don't know about the vibe they're going with. I don't know about the tone, and I'm not really that familiar with the source material. Uh, but it's something that I wouldn't mind checking out one of these days just to see how they managed to pull off this world and this landscape and uh, handle this honestly kind of touchy thing, with the bestiality and well, it's not really bestiality, but with these mutants that are half man, half animal. Uh, I just hope it doesn't become too preachy or too pretentious. That's one thing I'm kind of worried about. Also, with the casting, like having an SNL alum, I'm trying to remember what his name is, as a serious father role. I don't know if that really was the best route to take, but maybe he'll surprise me. But yeah, I mean, trailer didn't blow me away, but I've definitely seen and heard of worse. One thing I want to mention that comes to my head is John Wick 4. Donnie Yen was actually announced to be part of the cast, and Donnie Yen's going to be a not necessarily a partner, but a guy who's going to tag along with John Wick. That's fucking awesome. That's badass. Donnie Yen and and Keanu Reeves teaming up to kick more ass. I mean, sign me up for that for sure. Um, and I really don't know what else to say except once again, for those of you who are waiting for requests, I am right in the thick of things. I'm watching a lot of stuff, and I'm going to be knocking out as many requests as I can. I already recorded a review of 300. I'm going to be doing this as well, 300 Rise of an Empire. Um, and yeah, I've been watching a lot of stuff. I also saw some movies that I probably won't record reviews of anytime soon, like Hercules with Dwayne The Rock Johnson, which to be honest is a little disappointing. The Rock is absolutely ripped here, and he's a good choice to play Hercules, but he doesn't really do anything superhuman or really truly badass until like the last 10 to 15 minutes. So it's a letdown in that regard. It's more of an ensemble film with this other team that tags along with Hercules. And there's a good chunk of the movie where it's just training this army, and then you have this whole double cross thing. It's based on a graphic novel, apparently, but the graphic novel is just a dumb idea. A Hercules story without Hercules doing a lot of superhuman Herculean feats and just being kind of a regular guy for the majority of the film. Boring. Where are the battles with hydras and all this other shit? Like you see that early on in the film, but it's just a flashback, and then the rest of the movie is this kind of dull story, and there's some okay bits of action, but yeah, pretty forgettable, so-so at best, well, not really sword and sorcery, but fantasy film. Definitely had the vibe of a generic Marvel movie. That's really what it reminded me of. A very generic, forgettable Marvel movie. I also saw these two films, and I'm definitely going to be doing a review of this in the future because I really loved this. Super. This was a great movie. I thought this was really underrated and just a really irreverent and just subversive, just slick film. Loved it. And then I also saw this one, God Bless America. This is actually a good companion piece to Super. Very similar in terms of the tone. Uh, this is a very ballsy film that I don't think would ever get made today, even in the independent film arena, because it's just so fucking mean spirited, dark, twisted, and all kinds of fucked up. So if you like your comedies dark and fucked up, I would say this is a double feature worth checking out sometime. Super and God Bless America. Um, Other than that, I don't really know what else to say. I mean, I have watched some other stuff like that were for requests, like War Games, which holds up really well. I'll save more of my thoughts on that for later. Um, and yeah, I really got nothing else to say. Thanks for watching this vlog, and as always, I'll see you later. See ya.